Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about the concept of American exceptionalism. It's factually incorrect. We Americans tell ourselves that our country is the greatest on earth, a special place, an exceptional nation, if you will. We base this on many things, none of which are facts, because the facts say that, at least so far as this sort of thing can be established factually, we have way less to be boastful about than many of us assume. Study after study shows that the U.S. lags behind much of the rest of the developed world in categories like healthcare, education, income inequality, gender inequality, gun violence, life expectancy, and a multitude of others. So, if we are being left in the dust by so much of the rest of the world in so many different areas, why is it that American exceptionalism has become such an unchallengeable ideology for so many of us? Well, for one thing, it's culturally biased. A few years ago, President Barack Obama said he believed in American exceptionalism, but in the same sense that Brits believed in British exceptionalism, or Greeks believed in Greek exceptionalism. A fairly insightful statement, right? At least by the standards of American politics. So, of course, Obama was immediately attacked by conservatives for being unpatriotic. I assume that people from every country just sort of naturally feel like where they're from is better than other places. Okay, maybe not in Sudan, but you get the idea. But here in America, we aren't happy with mere affection and admiration for the United States. Our standard of patriotism will admit nothing short of absolute metaphysical certainty in the innate, transcendent superiority of the United States. And we don't just like to believe that. We like to hear it said back to us, over and over, which kind of makes me think that it's empty pandering. Since the notion that the U.S. is the greatest isn't based on anything other than our gargantuan national ego, when politicians remind us of our supposed greatness, they aren't saying anything that's actually meaningful. Politicians who fire up crowds with appeals to American awesomeness are no different than coaches delivering motivational locker room speeches before the big game. Although, I suspect most athletes who hear such speeches know, at least at some level, that it's just some horseshit the coach is saying to encourage them. And the coach sure as hell doesn't really believe it. I mean, what are the odds that this is actually the best damn team he's ever had the pleasure to coach? Come on. But I think many of us really do believe it. Or at the very least, we commit to it so much that it warps our perception of our place in the world. There are certain areas where the U.S. is arguably top dog. One of those would be military might, another would be international influence, much of which follows from the military might. Our dominance in these areas means that the U.S. is in a position to lead globally like few other countries. But many of us who cherish the notion of American exceptionalism see America's proper role in the world not as that of a team player working to strengthen ourselves and others through cooperation and diplomacy, but as that of a heavy-handed bully, throwing our weight around to get our own way, the interests of other countries, even our allies, if it comes right down to it, be damned. But whether we're talking about foreign or domestic affairs, there is one thing about American exceptionalism that potentially makes it not only obnoxious, but dangerous. It's an obstacle to reform. Totally uncritical love is a bad thing. If you love something in such a way that you're unable or unwilling to acknowledge its flaws, then you're essentially saying it's fine just the way it is. Which would be okay if the thing you love is perfect. But, as warmly as I feel about it, America definitely ain't perfect. Though it's come a long way these last 240 years, it needs a bit of work yet. But so many of us are convinced that America is already the best that it's hard to make it better. The hardest part's only picking 5. Catch you next time.